And good morning. Another one of those strange dreams. As I got out of bed this morning and went down the hall to get my drink of water and go into the meditation room, my body ached from the dream because, well, let me do a title and the blurb, and then I'll explain a little bit about the dream and how I got to where I'm at right this minute. The title that I'm giving this morning is The Way Out is In, The Way Up is Down. And my blurb, in order to conquer outer space, humans must first come to grips with the inner space from which the outer world manifests. To move upward, to ascend, we must plumb our own depths, descending into the proverbial rabbit hole to discover the secrets of creation that have always been hidden in plain view. A separate God out there is not the answer, never was. That God is not separate, but rather within each one of us. 2012 is our window of opportunity to connect the dots and solve the puzzle. Hint: it cannot be solved until we recollect the pieces we heretofore rejected. Ah, divine wisdom, radical grace, unconditional love, Shazam, or Shazam, transformation. I was moving in the dream from Florida, apparently to New Jersey, in a U-Haul truck that had a picture of the space shuttle on it. And when I got to New Jersey, I was with my family, although it was my first wife, I believe. I'm not 100% sure of that. But my son was in the dream, and he had his Volkswagen, which he has right now, even though he's a drummer. He has a Volkswagen. And we finished unloading the truck, and I had to go to work at my old job at American Towel in Hackensack, New Jersey. And I haven't been there since 1983. I don't even know if I imagine it's still running. But anyway, I asked my son if he would come and pick me up because I was driving to work in the U-Haul truck and going to be dropping it off on my way into work, and I was running against the clock because I needed to be to work by 8:30, and it was already 8 o'clock, and I'm still hadn't left yet. And I was wondering if Larry, who was my boss back in 1983, would be mad at me. Anyway, I walked down the hall, and oh my God, I'm feeling aches in my body, which, thank God, after some meditation, I'm not feeling that way now. But I certainly was as I got out of bed and went down to the kitchen and then to the meditation room. And when I came to the computer, I still wasn't exactly sure how all these pieces fit together. And quite honestly, I'm still not 100%. I don't I don't get it all yet. But one of the ironies was that as I was cleaning up the U-Haul truck, there was a lot of trash laying around on the floor. And I was digging through the trash and finding coins and money, i.e. treasure, in what seemed like stuff that had been thrown away. And that's sort of what the meaning of the blurb is, that we heretofore rejected. We had to recollect the pieces. What were the pieces? There were treasures in those things that we weren't paying attention to. And I have a feeling today, even though I have a fairly good deal of work on my plate, although I did get a jump start on my calendar stuff yesterday, and so I won't be quite as busy today as I normally would be. But in any case, I have a feeling there's still going to be a lot of introspection going on. And I have a feeling that this is happening not just for me, but it's going to be happening for virtually all of us that are on this path of ascension here in 2012. We're going to be dealing with things that we thought we were over with because, again, things go like this, they spiral. And we get to go back to those points and pick up the pieces that we maybe missed the first time around. And I think my spirit is telling me, Ron, this is the process. You're in process, and you're going to be in process this year. You're going to be plumbing more of your depths, discovering more things that you thought weren't important. But they are important. There's treasure there. Find the treasure. Find the treasure. Spend time getting to know what's in you. That's what it means, plumb the depths. Now, plumb the depths, of course, that's my Paradox magazine was about scaling the heights and plumbing the depths. I mean, that was on every issue for 60 issues from the first one in April of 1996. Scaling the heights and plumbing the depths, going beyond our comfort zone was what Paradox was all about. Embracing the paradox, learning the mystery, finding the missing pieces of the puzzle, connecting the dots. We've been doing that collectively over the past 10 plus years. Since 9/11, I think more people have been connecting the dots than ever before in human history. We've been putting the pieces together. There have always been people that have been out there revealing the secrets before 9/11. But since 9/11, that was the wake-up call. That was when it was in your face, the government lies. I mean, don't get carried away with crazy, ridiculous conspiracy theories. Well, the crazy, ridiculous conspiracy theory that was the most insane was the official story, which if anybody looks at the facts is going to realize. That's not what I'm supposed to be talking about today, however. It's about connecting the dots in our individual lives. Because there has always been, from my point of view, some people say there is no plan, there is no destiny, there's no such thing. In my Thursday discussion group, we're divided because some of the people believe there is no plan, there's never been a plan. We make it all up as we go along. There's nothing we're supposed to do. We're just living, we're just alive. And I can see that to some degree, but I've always felt that there was a plan, that I was a man of destiny, that since I was at least a teenager, and probably even before I became a teenager, before I even got into double digits, I've always had this sense that God had his hand on me, or for whatever that meant. Whatever that meant. It has meant different things to me at different points in my life. I've defined God very differently. But going back to where I grew up, which is New Jersey, Bergen County, New Jersey. Hackensack is the county seat. And that's where I left. That's the last job that I had there before I moved to Florida in March of 1983. It was in Hackensack, New Jersey. But it's interesting that it appeared in the dream that I couldn't see who my wife was. I'm assuming it was my first wife because she's the only wife I ever had when I lived up in that part of the world. But my son was an adult. I mean, my son was in the present time, and I was going into the past time, and I still haven't figured that one out yet. But the message Spirit's giving me as I meditate on it is to look at those things, to go back and pay attention to what I might have left behind in the refuse scattered on the floor in the dream of the truck. as you can tell, I still don't have 100% clarity there. I mean, why am I digging for money in the trash? Why am I going back to something that I thought is long gone? Well, a lot of my dreams actually go back to that area and also to Pennsylvania, the two places where I have the most history, I guess I should say, uh, from my life pre-Florida, my pre-Florida life, where it was in Florida that I really started branching out and discovering new things. I was still pretty much a fundamentalist Christian when I moved, although it was getting shaken. That's still where I was, and when I came to Florida, I was still part of the evangelical charismatic church system. And now I'm watching videos the last couple of days on world history, one on the Moorish history of the world, which was on Saturday, and then yesterday, I forget what the title was, but it was another history lesson. And they weren't the same at all, by the way. The second one was very, very much Christian, very much catastrophic, apocalyptic. Especially once you got past in the beginning, it was pretty good, but it started losing me. It was a 3-hour video that I watched yesterday, and it started losing me halfway through it when it started getting too cataclysmic. And it may seem like I'm talking random, and it does to me too. And yet, I'm amazed sometimes when I do this, when I just let it flow like this, as ever it comes to me. I'm amazed sometimes at some of the things that come out that I wasn't thinking about, that just flow from me. And I'm amazed at how other people it's something for somebody else. And so I'm giving up trying to figure it all out. I mean, I'm seeing all these pieces. Some of these things that I'm watching are contradictory to each other. I mean, in the one on the Moorish thing, he says, there's no such thing as a white prophet. The white race is an abomination to the earth. And the only way we're going to be redeemed, this is a white man telling the story in Africa, I guess he was in Africa, that people have to get their pigment back in order to be worth anything. And I mean, he totally lost me there, because my message has always been that we're all important. We all have a role to play. And he genetically modified out the pigmentation, and it was an experimentation to get rid of the pigment, sort of like what Michael Jackson did in his life of trying to become a black man, trying to become white. Well, that's what this person who was giving these lectures on Moorish history indicated, that a bunch of the dark-skinned people were experimented. They became Caucasians, and they were banished to Europe, and Europe was an anathema because it was the only continent that doesn't start with an A, it starts with an E. It was the only one, and therefore it's unique and different. It wasn't in America, it wasn't Antarctica, Australia, Africa, Asia. You see, all of them are A's. And that was an E, and that's been the problem with the earth, has all been caused by white people. Well, and then this other one was more or less based in Germany, so it was a totally different Aryan point of view. But see, there's dark-skinned Aryans too. That's the irony of using the word Aryan. Aryan is not necessarily white Caucasian. There are Aryans in parts of Asia that are definitely not white skin. And that has the skin color has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that, from my perspective, it wasn't genetic modification. It was different cultures from different planets and different star systems, ETs in other words, that settled the earth. And they settled in different parts of the earth, perhaps. And I don't know the answer to all this history, but I'm being bombarded with history lessons over the past couple of days. And then I have this dream where I'm going back in my own individual history. I suspect that what Spirit is showing me is that this is something that's really important for us to get in 2012. It's really important because we're going to ascend this year. I believe by the end of the year, there's going to be, if not everybody on the planet itself and many people will ascend. And I don't believe that means going off the earth. I don't believe that that's what it means. Some people see it that way. I don't. I believe the meek shall inherit the earth. The earth is our inheritance, and it belongs to us, and we're going to reclaim this planet for truth and for love and for light and for the good that is written in our hearts, that's in each one of us, the things that we long for, each one of us. We're going to reclaim the earth this year from the usurpers that have done all sorts of atrocious things, committing calamitous events, creating calamity on purpose. Yes, it's awakened us. Yes, I can see where it probably was necessary. But that role is no longer needed as we remember, as we go down so that we can go up, as we go in so we can bring out the treasure that's inside of us. We can understand that our humanity is our divinity. And we awaken, and Shazam, we get the transformation that has always been the purpose of creation. He that would ascend must first descend. And there is treasure in the darkness. Look it up. Treasures in the darkness. I leave you with these thoughts to ponder, and I shall certainly be pondering them myself as the day progresses. Namaste.